This is Scott from Scalpel City Trader, and this is the section on this SI indicator on chart settings. Please take a second to read the disclaimer. Okay, so this is the complement to the subchart where you can see a lot more information. We'll go over this here briefly. So this is the link to the explanation. The add-on tracks the evolution of iceberg orders and execution of stop orders. It shows precisely at what price the icebergs are detected, traded, and fully executed or canceled. And also shows the executed stop order trades on the main bookmap chart. So it's an additional indicator that can be loaded separately with the subchart that we've gone over. The key difference is how and where the additional information is displayed.
S&P stocks topped by ES 648 contracts.
And the key features: accurate detection of tracking of iceberg orders and stop orders, display of icebergs that are partially executed and still alive, filters, stops, and icebergs traded by size, and instant computation and display of each update as it happens in real time. Okay, so this is just the basic. We've gone over this a few times already. How to download these add-ons into Bookmap. So again, you go to I'll show you the actual chart here. Just go to here, click on these three diagonal rectangles. And then, where are we at here? Sorry. And then we'll go on the next page here. So then you go to the three rectangle diagonal rectangles. Click on Add. So you want to click on this or go to the website. You bring this download in, and then it'll be in your downloads. Double click on that, hit Add, and then double click on that, and it'll bring it in here. And then you want to check it. So this mine's already on there, obviously, but you want to check it, and that'll be in your ready to go. And then we'll go over the settings here. So these are the settings for icebergs. I was using, well, actually, we'll go to the stops, but I'm using half size of my thresholds, and I'm going to show you.
Crude ice iceberg sell CL 153 contracts.
Also, before we get into that, you want to, I use black for sells, yellow for buys. I just need some different colors on my chart. And we talked about the sweeps indicator and everything else that's going on. I'm using black and white for sweeps indicator and black and yellow for on chart. Okay, so this is, oops. All right, I'll get there. One of these. There we go. All right, so again, I'm using. So if this is that screenshot I just showed. I'm using half sizes, so you can see here. Oops, I didn't want to do that either. When I change this around. Like if I had this at threshold, so my threshold for iceberg subchart is 700, right? But if I put in, see if I can shrink this way. No, I can't. Just want to be able to show you here. So if I put in 700, so watch how these change, because I want to see the evolution of this iceberg. So we'll get into these icons, but this shows me 585 transacted, which is, you can see it on the subchart here, and we'll go over the screenshot. And then another 500 came in, which made this, don't pay attention to this, this is the sweeps up here, this number, I'm talking about this number here next to the icons, right? And then another 500 came in, so you can see it on the subchart too. So you see this was 500 came in, and it's tracking that 500, and it's not a fully executed iceberg, and this tells you that this iceberg was obviously one entity, which is just good information, right? So it was 585, started it, the market popped up into it, ran into a mouthful of icebergs there, ran up and went a little higher, and then it filled that entire iceberg. The E means the whole iceberg executed, and you can see it right here. So actually, let's look at that screenshot before I get into changing this back and forth. So this is this example, right? So the 510, that was that, and then another 500 came in and it fully executed, and you can see that spike down there. So I'd want to draw all those prices that incorporated this iceberg, which is here. I don't draw them on the on chart. You can, but it gets a little convoluted sometimes. So I mean, I use this as my guide, but then I draw to the sub chart as we've talked about. So as far as the settings. So you can see here when I change this around, if I put this at threshold, that's going to disappear. And that's going to basically negate that too. So for instance, if I had this at 2,000, you see that disappears too. So I don't want it at 0 because you're going to see every little thing that happens on it. Like I don't need to see all these icons, the two-lot executing, things like that. So this you can play around with. This is personal preference. I mean, it's just going to, you're not going to be missing anything because the subchart's here, but I mean, you are going to be missing something if you have it too high because you won't be able to see where it transacted in these lower prices. Yeah, that wasn't threshold at the time, but it told me, hey, heads up, 585 transacted, right? And then it finally did hit threshold right after that and made it 1,000. So this wasn't threshold right here, but then this was. So I just want to see that on my chart. This is customizable, obviously. You just don't want it too high where you're not seeing this this granular stuff, but you don't want it too low where it gets really annoying. So that's basically how I set it. So these are all I have these icons. So I just have executed active. Again, you can read about this. This is more personal preference. I don't care about canceling. That's not showing it here, but I don't care if an iceberg was canceled, right? I want to see what trades. That's what's important in the market. The market doesn't care what's canceled, right? So that's not important to me, so I don't have that checked, but I have the trade icon. That's that. And this is just aggregating, executed, and canceled, so it's not a big deal. So you can keep that checked or unchecked if you want. And then here's the executed. That's that. And then it'll show if it's active too. I don't have that example here, but you can play around with these and just see how it changes your chart. But not crucial, but I want to know, this is just more information based on the sub chart is the driver of all my trading, but this just helps you see what's happening on chart. So it's very helpful. And then these are just, things that you can mess around with. They just added this in the new version. I haven't really even messed with this, but if you put this, you see it it'll aggregate them together, which is fine if you just want to see one big one. But like I said, I want to see kind of the pieces come in because I already see it pretty much aggregated down here, right? So this is all for basically personal preference kind of stuff. And then next one is the stops. Again, I use half the size of my thresholds, and we'll see an example here. I use the sell buy sell colors, the same. You can change this too if you want. I just have it in orange, which is the subchart color as well. And then this I don't really understand. I always assumed, and I think I'm right, that all stops are stop runs, but this will filter it out. You'll see less. I don't really want that. I want to see the stop runs, and I'm filtering it by size. I don't need to put. You can click on and off here. I mean, we'll have a chance to look at it here, but I don't really mess with that. So here's an example of using the filtering too, where you might not see stuff. Let's see, it was over here somewhere. Here we go. So, and this also aggregates as you scroll in and out, right, as well. So you can see here on the on chart showing 1,000. If you scroll out, it's showing this was two different stop runs. You had 337, that was not threshold, but you had 651, that was, and they're back to back. So, the whole idea of this is to incorporate heavy volume areas, aka trap traders, right? So sellers got run over there, sellers got run over there, someone was puking. I want to include all this, and you can see clear as day here. This was the 300, which wasn't, if they just drew that, at 360. Sometimes this will be a little different. Obviously, it says 337, but it's actually 360. I just don't have less than 250. That's why you're not seeing the rest of this. That's why it says 360 here. So watch if I have this. This is just good to see, so you guys can understand this stuff because it could be a little confusing. So if let's say I just put this at 0 and 0. even showing it. I thought that would show me the additional 23 to get to the 260 or 360, but that's not showing it for some reason. But you can see here, like, I don't want to see 225, 15, right? So I have mine at 250. That's weird that didn't show the other value. So point is, just like the icebergs, this is customizable. You know, you're still seeing it on the subchart, but it's just good to see, okay, hey, you know, was that a 1,000 lot or was that a 300 then a 600? And I want to incorporate both, which is fine, but you know, just a different look. The subchart is the driver. That's all you got to know. And then the same stuff here. You can mess around with this stuff. I really didn't do anything. This is brand new. Like, they didn't have this before, but see, like that. If I time aggregation, I don't even really know what that's representing. So I just leave this at default. It's what it is. It's fine. I don't mess with this. You can mess with it. You can view it however you want, right? It's down here, but this just helps you. This helps you draw the zones. We're gonna get into that next. But just know if you scrunch your chart, you're gonna get it aggregated, and if you mess with those values, you're not gonna see them. So what I was gonna show you here, where I wouldn't see that first part of it, is if I had this at. So if I had this at 500, that disappears, right? This one will stay, I'm sure, but if I have it at 1,000, there you go, that disappears. So mess with that what you want to see. If you just want to see huge ones, then change this up. You're still going to see it on the subchart. And then you can have, for both the icebergs and stops, you can have alerts. I don't have those because I'm getting alerts on the subchart. And then you can also get alerts to your phone. I don't know how to do this. You guys got to contact Bookmap support. I don't think it's that hard. Some members of my room have set it up. I just have never set it up. Like, I'm pretty much sitting here all day anyway. I don't need phone alerts, but you can set it up where you're driving and a huge stop run fires off or a monster iceberg fires off. You get a text on your phone, so it's pretty cool. I just haven't used it. I heard it works fine. So try that out. There's a lot of bells and whistles, as you can see. I'm not going to get into everything. I'm showing you what I use personally. You can customize this any way you want. And then we'll get into, so this is what I already showed you, how you can split it up and see them. Same here. This is what I just showed you on the real-time stuff. That, and that. Just put them together. I do. So this is the proper drawing of the stop run areas with the sweeps indicator on chart. I showed this in the sweeps indicator section as well. Here's just another example of it, right? So always remember the sweeps get first right to the order book. So if I'm a big trader and I come in and I want to sweep 1,000, I get first right, and then the stops can come in after me, right? So I pick up any orders that are in the order book up to my sweep amount, and then the stops come in after I'm done, right? So this is where, like, you can see the red line started there. That's the stop run that fired off, but the sweep started actually down here. I'll go into this in a second, why I'm not starting the zone here. I'm starting it right here, but I'm incorporating the sweeps because you don't know if these stops were down here, right? Because the sweeps get first right, so the stops could have been here. We know they were here, but that's the point that you want to incorporate. You want to start drawing it where the sweep started. The reason I didn't draw it here is because I know pretty close to, with certainty, that the stop runs were not down here. Yes, somebody could have just dropped stop runs right off, in this very moment, just dropped them in the order book. Doesn't happen very often, does sometimes, but most of the time they're here waiting. Well, if the stops were here waiting, they would have already triggered. This price already traded there, and it traded there, and then someone came and swept in the order book, right? So I know that pretty close to 100% the stops were not here, but I don't know, were they here or were they here? So I got to draw them as the sweeps started. Again, not here because that price already traded. There is where I draw the zone. So hopefully that's clear. And that is it for this video. Pretty straightforward stuff, but it just helps you, draw, and you can get as granular as you want with this stuff. But I draw my zones off of the subchart stuff, but this just helps you, zero in on these areas.